Ladies and gentlemen, there is no doubt Donald Trump will be the Republican GOP nominee. There is zero doubt he will, with God forbid, barring any unforeseen, heaven forbid tragedy, become the GOP nominee, Republican nominee. He was a president with record low poverty in 2019, presiding over record low poverty. Now, George Will, for example, is a brilliant man. Doesn't like Trump. I love George Will's writing on baseball, politics. He is a traditional conservative. Looks at Trump as a boorish, uncouth monster. But a person like George Will, although he's brilliant, at the Washington Post, probably the most brilliant writer there or contributor, is clueless as to why people vote for Trump. Okay, I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post in 2015 and 2016. I used to be, according to the Washington Post, one writer said I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders's most hardcore voters. I realized eventually that Bernie Sanders was a tool of the Democratic Party, not a very genuine politician, or not. Most politicians are disingenuous, but didn't really want to fight or battle politically for his beliefs, which I thought amounted to record low poverty, record highs in household median income. I was stuck on the left most of my life. I was a liberal Democrat, then progressive, whatever those things mean, because they're all funneled into a failed Democratic Party that's presiding over interest rates going through the roof as we possibly have a recession. We don't know. They might get us into a recession by raising interest rates further throughout the year, but they pumped trillions and trillions after shutting down economic activity because all the smart people said we needed to do that. And the intelligentsia, perhaps George Will included, just okay with that. It was Trump that we had record low unemployment, record highs in household median income, record low poverty in 2019, the Doha Agreement that got Americans out of our longest running military conflict, got us out of Syria, Afghanistan. If you vote for Trump, you're voting for a limited foreign policy where Americans aren't sent to never-ending counterinsurgency conflicts. Again, even the brilliant writers at the Washington Post or New York Times, they might have a firm grasp of history and a broad base of knowledge, but it's not important to the morally superior, highly educated, almost always apoplectic liberals and conservatives who don't like Trump. Trump represents a reform, a change, a paradigm shift in foreign policy. That's why you're going to get Trump in a landslide over Chris Christie or DeSantis, who has a completely failed campaign, because they're traditional Republicans, or they're more likely to send Americans off to never-ending military conflict because the intel agencies said, hey, we have some intelligence. Well, let's send Americans off forever to fight in faraway lands forever. George W. Bush is now a favorite of liberal Democrats. They don't care about never-ending military conflict. Hit subscribe to this channel right now. You have people at Salon singing the praises years back of George W. Bush because he didn't disgrace the presidency like Trump. Twitter, sensibilities, a person's personality has nothing to do with if a presidency is a good presidency or not. You judge the accomplishments. What were the accomplishments of President Obama? The ACA? What else? That country invaded under Biden's watch got more territory taken under Biden and President Obama than Trump. They had zero territory taken under Trump. Or I should say, they didn't have the territory that we've seen taken under Trump, under Trump, as we've seen with Biden and President Obama. And so they weren't invaded with Trump. You look at foreign policy, the world was safer, categorically, objectively safer with Trump. Hit subscribe to this channel to read my writing in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Jerusalem Post, the Federalist, other publications. Go to hagoodman.com, become a member. Ladies and gentlemen, by 2024, we'll get this channel really up and running. I mean, in a couple of months, I'll do live streams pretty much every day. We'll have a whole lot of interviews. A lot of great things are happening for me, thank God. And so I'm not doing as many videos as I really want to, but we're over 200,000. We'll get to, I think, over 300,000 by the end of 2024. That would be beautiful. And once things settle down, again, some really wonderful things are taking place. I'll be doing more videos, live streams, and interviews. But people don't understand. Like, there's so many people who are asking, "Gee, who do you think will be the Republican nominee?" It's like, what? We had a president who did great things in terms of the economy, in terms of foreign policy. He brought Americans home. He doesn't worship intel agencies. The great thing about JFK, and RFK Jr. talked about this, but this is, if you read any books on John Kennedy, he didn't trust the intel agencies, Central Intelligence generals. He did his own thing with the Cuban Missile Crisis. He said, "Nah, we're not invading Cuba." Okay? Anyone, Democrat or Republican today, would have not done what JFK did. Only Trump would have very likely done exactly what JFK did, said, "Nah, I'm not going to invade." Because he doesn't just simply, like an AI robot, listen to what he's told. This nonsense about the experts, there are experts in Bitcoin. You wouldn't listen to them and put your life savings in Bitcoin, would you? So why would you then cede authority to experts on every other topic? I don't care about a popularity contest. I've lost like more than 10, 12 friends because of the sin of voting for Trump. We're 90 seconds closer to midnight, according to the Bulletin of Atomic. We're 60 or 90 seconds to midnight, according to the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists. They made a big deal about that. Trump did nothing, and just because it's Trump, they moved the clock closer to midnight. But our mashed potato brains, our current president, presided over an invasion. And still, they're making triumphant statements. The counteroffensive, they've lost like 20% of territory. At what point will people realize that this administration, Democrats in general, presided over failed policies, failed decision-making? Nothing is better than it was in 2019, or even at the end of Trump's presidency, it was like 2% inflation. They say, well, inflation is down now. Well, then why are they raising interest rates? Okay, they say the economy is good. Then why are we teetering towards a recession? We had a recession a year ago. Two quarters of negative growth, and then, of course, they redefine everything. You can't really get into a debate with a morally superior, highly educated liberal Democrat because they will redefine words. The English language is very malleable when it comes to these sensibilities and value systems that just change and are created overnight. And so words don't have meaning now. They just redefine words, and everyone has to accept it. So it's like, you look at Trump, the true authoritarian is not Trump. It's the people after Trump. You'd have to know a little something about history. I'd love to ask George Will, who's a brilliant man, or others, name me an authoritarian like Trump that didn't have full control of the media narrative, that didn't have full loyalty and control of intelligence agencies or generals, that didn't have Hollywood, that didn't have a public relations apparatus and a media machine propping him up. Trump has none of those things. If anything, he's torn down every single day. People are betraying him every single day who worked with him. He's getting indicted 1 million times. How is he the authoritarian? And people don't care if he's indicted 60 or 70 times because they know it's not about the rule of law. If you allow Hillary Clinton, another thing that the brilliant and morally superior apparently don't care about, with a private servers, if you have Hunter with a kid that's his own that doesn't even take responsibility, and then you have substances in the White House, and then you have a laptop full of bribery schemes, everyone sees what's going on. Trump is infinitely better of a human being than these people who despise him. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. He'll be the GOP nominee, obviously. Give me your thoughts. Thank you.